Yo, welcome to the channel. It's the Weird Perspective, the off-season edition. My name is Derry. I have a very amazing guest, an artist. This man makes fire tracks. He is a Chicago native, man. Loves the youth, loves the Lord, by the way. Welcome to the channel, my homie, Antione Brewer. What's good, man?
What's the word, bro?
Not much, man. I'm just here. See you dropped a new EP. I wanted you to come on here so we could talk about it. I wanted to be the first person, man, to have you talk about these tracks, man. But before we get into all that, man, how's the holiday season been for you, man? Thanksgiving, Christmas, going into New Year's. How you been?
Man, I'm blessed. I ain't got no complaints, man. Typically around the holidays, though, I don't really get too much rest. I'm usually trying to find time to connect with my family and still trying to stay engaged with the youth that I work with. But other than that, everything been smooth, man. Been able to eat some good food, have some fun. I ain't got no complaints, man.
Dope, man. That's dope, man. That's dope. I got a fun little question that I want to ask you. You being a rapper, an artist, if you could do one track with two artists, who would it be and why?
It'll either be Lecrae and Chance the Rapper,
Lecrae and Chance the Rapper,
or Lecrae and NF, or NF and Chance the Rapper.
Okay, why those particular artists?
Lecrae mainly because he one of the main reasons I got into rapping about positive stuff. Like at an early age, I learned about Christian rap or whatever. That's when it was corny. Like it was crazy corny. But Lecrae wasn't really corny though. He was on a different level early on when I first started hearing about it. Chance the Rapper, mainly because when I was in high school, I listened to him a lot, especially when he had first came out. And I just like the way that he write. And NF, I actually learned about him indirectly. I was in college working out when I was playing basketball at school, and I was listening to a playlist I created on SoundCloud. And you know, after a playlist ends, they just go into whatever next that's related to it. And his song popped on. It was called Therapy Session. And I didn't know it was him because I heard her in there before that because he had did a song with another Christian artist. His name was Flame. And the name of the song is Start Over. And so when I looked into it, and I'm like, man, this is cold. Like I was finna turn it, but it was cold. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna keep listening to it. And then I found out it was the same person. So I've been listening to NF and Lecrae for a long time now. And then Chance the Rapper, of course. But
Dope. Yeah, I like all those artists. I like them for different reasons. Lecrae, I've been bumping Church Close for the past few weeks now, and then I'm not big on Chance. Like I've listened to his first couple albums, but I don't have any playlists where I have Chance on there. I probably need to listen to some Chance, but he's probably the least I listen to out of the three that you named. So you being from Chicago, man, born and raised right here, Chi-Town. Let us know about your upbringing, man. What was it like for you? What part of the city you from? Share with us your background, your upbringing.
Well, I'm from a community called North Lawndale. It's on the west side of Chicago. What's crazy is our city each neighborhood is broke off into even more neighborhoods, right? North Lawndale is probably a combination of about 3 or 4 different communities, right? We got K-Town that's in the Holy City. those two neighborhoods are separated by Pulaski. Then you got Homan Square, which is separated by Roosevelt. So Homan Square um is separated from K-Town and Holy City simply by like one street. It's crazy. Yeah. But I grew up all throughout that area. But in terms of like being raised in a sense, I was definitely raised in K-Town. So K-Town is basically all of the streets that start with a K, like Comiskey, Karloff, Cadville, Keeler, Costner, all of that. Yeah. And so I literally moved up the block every single time. Went from 12th and Karloff to 16th, back to 13th, and then to Comiskey. And then I moved from over there to Homan Square, to St. Louis and Lexington, a bunch of different places. But yeah, so I grew up in my family dynamic is interesting. I got blood related. I got 2 sisters and 3 brothers. I'm the fifth. Child on my mom's side, and I got a younger sister on my dad's side.
So you the baby boy.
11. But I'm really the big brother though. They all my kids, but they don't really matter. They be tripping.
So you the little big brother.
Yeah, I grew up in yeah, man. But they say, man, heavy is the head that wear the crown.
I say that a whole lot. So
yeah, my mom and my dad, they both like struggle with drug addiction. That's typical for people in our community anyway. And then I was raised by my grandma, moving from place to place because our apartments or wherever we was living was over capacity, because she would take in her kids and then their kids. And so I remember one time, well, a lot of times, us just having like a 3-bedroom apartment. Matter of fact, I remember one time when we lived on St. Louis and Lexington, it was a 2-bedroom apartment, and there was probably about 15 or more of us living in there.
Wow.
And that's like my grandma, my uncles and aunties, they kids, my mama and her kids, and my grandma. So it was crazy. But it's crazy. So, but growing up in that type of environment, I just had to learn how to survive, right? Coming up on welfare, getting like food stamps, getting thousands of dollars in food stamps, and then no food being in the refrigerator after the first week and a half to 2 weeks, because everybody in there is like survival of the fittest. Like whoever gonna get in there first, get what they get. So I just, from what I remember, like vividly, I remember being about 7 or 8 years old and like knocking on the neighbor's door so I could take out their trash so I can get like some money.
Yeah.
Or raking, cleaning up around their house or whatever the case may be. Like all type of stuff, just so I can be able to get through the day. I remember me and my one of my god brothers, we literally used to survive off honey buns and 50-cent juices.
Hey man, some of these kids don't know about them 50-cent juices, man.
Like we'll go to the corner store and get honey buns and 50-cent juices. And a lot of my relatives been incarcerated and stuff. And so all those little jail things they used to do, we used to do them. Come home, and now they in here putting peanut butter on honey buns. That's what we used to do. So it was crazy. Well, noodles with hot dogs, chopping up the hot dogs, putting noodles in them joints. Man, yeah. So
that's crazy how being in those type of environments naturally teach you how to hustle and how to survive, how to get money. Like you just start to creatively think of ways to make money. Like, man, I ain't got no money. What can I do to get money? And so it's like, man, well, let me go I know for me, when I was a kid, it was like on the snow. So we used to have to get them big blizzards. So I would shovel everybody car out, 15 cars.
Waist deep.
They hit me with like $5-10 a pop. You just do the whole block and go home 4 hours later. You got some money in your pocket. But yeah, that's crazy. What else? How do you think that shaped you? Like now, like reflecting on your upbringing now, what was one of the things that you would take away from your experience as a childhood?
Most recently, man, I just been really thinking and dreaming bigger, right? Coming from the environment that I come um, from the time that I can remember, I really never had an opportunity to live. And so you think, and so you operate from a mindset of survival, right? And now that I have an opportunity to live and dream bigger than I ever dreamed before, sometimes it makes you a little nervous, which is okay. But, and what I mean by that is that I'm in a position to rewrite the narrative, right?
Yeah.
For a long time, African Americans or people that come from where I come from, you never even have the audacity to pick up your own pen and write your own story. And so you base your life off of what people said you could or couldn't do, and you forgot about everything that you ever wanted to do, right? And so I remember being in college and coming back home and not even feeling like home is home or school is home. Right? I used to be fighting to get back home while I'm at school. And then when I get home, I'm fighting to get back to school because I don't fit in one of those places. I don't fit, right? Coming home and nobody in my household has like the same level of education that I have. But going to a predominantly white institution and coming from an urban community, and those people not understanding anything that's going on in my head, right? The realm that I'm operating from of survival, right? I was probably the most financially stable person in the history of my college campus, simply because I had all of these resources that I never had before, but I was also operating from a survival mindset. Like, right, I learned how to cut hair simply because I'm like, man, one, I'm not gonna have no money to go to the barbershop to get my hair cut. Two, if I do go to the barbershop, I'm around a bunch of white people and I'm not finna let them play in my head. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna learn how to cut my own hair. So I learned how to cut hair by practicing on people who was crazy enough to let me cut their hair. And so I used to trade haircuts for meal swipes or laundry cards or $20, right? And then on top of that, I was working on campus jobs. I was there on scholarship and all this type of stuff. So to answer your question, how it affected me is that sometimes it could be crippling. It can be crippling to come up in an environment where you just been in survival mode the whole time, and then you try and do something that you never did before, and you have those thoughts in the back of your head like, yeah, you probably shouldn't do it like this because this could happen. You probably shouldn't do it like this because this could happen. But then when you finally realize that, hey, look, man, we only got a certain amount of time on this earth, right? God bless each one of us with a certain amount of gifts, right? And all he asks for you to do is like to use it to serve his people. So when I started thinking more about that, I'm like, man, let me try and do something where I can create generational wealth. And I'm like, okay, well, I talked with my wife and I'm like, man, we need to start dreaming bigger. Like, we can't just be sitting up here being timid, because at the end of the day, why are we so content with just getting up and punching the clock all the time when anything can happen? Like, I don't know if people really paid attention to what happened with COVID. Like in a matter of an instance, like your whole life could be changed. And people, whoever in charge, it's up to them to do what's best for them and their families. So when it comes to people making cuts and all of that, like, man, it is what it is. It ain't personal, it's business. So I've just been I've been embracing everything that I've learned based on like my upbringing. Like those survival skills are key. But now I'm thinking way more innovatively and trying to use the gifts that God gave me to help me help other people and draw them closer to Christ. And so
That's
hopefully that
dope,
answers
man.
your
That's
question.
dope. That's real too, man. You had said something and it made me think of a stat that I learned about like years ago, and it was most people that come from our communities, they live and die within a 12-mile radius of where they were born. They never get to experience going to another city or leaving America, period. They might travel to like Milwaukee or some close city to visit family, but they never get to see anything outside of that. And when they usually going to visit their family, it might be like a small suburb or it's in the same neighborhood that they just came from. And that's the story of most people that come from where we come from. And so, yeah, I think inspiring the youth, man, to dream bigger and to go and experience that thing that you want. Go travel, go see the world, go gain new experiences, because that's going to inspire you to even think outside of the box. When all you surrounded by is the hood and where you from, it can kind of put you in this place where you lose hope, because that's all you seeing on a daily basis. You don't know what, taking a trip to Miami feels like, you getting on a plane, what that feels like. And so you can just sit here we talk to kids all the time. A lot of them have that. They're like, man, what's the point of doing this or doing that when I'm just gonna be here? They don't even think that they can make it out of their situation. And that's crazy to even think about in 2022 going into 2023 with all the resources, technology. You can literally pick your phone up and become a millionaire, and these kids still don't have hope. They still ain't able to dream with all of the resources that we have available to us. Even the people that live in the hood, if you got access to a smartphone, you can go and you can make TikToks and you can start a YouTube channel. You can do all these things right from your phone that you don't even need to be educated on to do. You just need to know how to run the program or the software. So man, yeah, that's pretty crazy. I want to dive into your because you say you went to college. What college did you go to? How did you, coming from where you come from, how did you make it to college? Like, what were some of the things you did to get to college? Are you the only person to go to college from your family? And what was that like?
For my immediate family, I'm the first person to finish college. My sister went to NIU, SIU. She went to SIU Carbondale. She came back because of financial reasons. But I had no idea what it even took to get to college. I started my high school academic career with a 1.7 GPA freshman year. Like I had a 1.7 GPA, and that was mainly because I almost didn't even go to high school. Because my mom and my dad was in the streets and struggling with drug addiction and all that stuff. You 14, 15 years old, man, you can't enroll yourself into school. Right? My grandma was raising me, but she was also raising 20 other people. Like literally, it was, tell you, man, it was 20 plus other people living with me. So it ain't like she had the time to be able to like focus on one particular person. She had to do the make sure the umbrella was up in general in terms of like having a place for us to stay. Like so she had to figure all that stuff out. And it was up to us to try and tap into those things. But I was actually the reason I ended up being able to go to high school is because one of my close friends, his mom had asked me, she's like, why you not at school? I'm like, I ain't getting enrolled into one. And she literally took me to Burlington to get some uniform and took me to Michelle Clark and enrolled me into Michelle Clark High School. But her son, which was my close friend, he my god brother, but he would always be late. His mom would take him to school. He'll be late every single day though. Like I would be down there on time so she could take us to school, but he would be late every time because he wanted to try and make a fashion statement every single time. And so I was failing my first period class because one, I didn't know that I really needed glasses, and two, because I was getting there late. And so my teacher ended up pulling me to the side one day and she was like, look, man, if you keep coming to class with your boy, you gonna fail. You gonna fail this class because you coming late every day. And so I had to figure it out. I'm like, okay, can't come to school with him no more. But how am I gonna get to school? And this was around the time where in Chicago we used to have these transit bus cards. They used to be yellow for the student reduced fare. And they had this. They basically looked like a credit card. You know, they had a little swipe down, walk around and collect them, and hope that one of them would work. Or I used to go to the I wasn't able to sign up to get bus cards because I ain't have a parent, right? I ain't had nobody to do it for me. And so the school usually provides you with bus cards, but I wasn't able to get them because I ain't had nobody to register me in the system. And so luckily the lady, her name was Miss Pickett, right? And my mom's last name was Miss Pickett. My mom's last name was Pickett. So the lady was like, man, you probably my family or whatever. So she used to give me bus cards to get from school, like to get home.
Yeah.
But after a while, she couldn't do it because she had a certain amount of bus cards she had to provide for the students who was enrolled in the bus card program. But there used to be days where I used to have to walk all the way from the Austin community to North Lawndale on 13th and Central Park from school after practice. It used to be days where when I was living in K-Town on Maypole and Kildare, where I used to have to get up early in the morning because we used to have practice at like 6 a.m. because I was on the freshman team and I had to get up early, but I ain't really had no bus fare or whatever. And I just have to make it happen. I have literally like a deck of bus cars like this big, and I just keep putting them in there. Eventually, the bus driver will be like, "Man, just go." And so, after a while, they got tired of me because the same bus drivers out of And so, I literally freshman and sophomore year, I used to go to school. I used to pick weeks where I'm like, I'm gonna go Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The next week I'm gonna go Tuesday and Thursday. Not because I didn't want to go to school, but because I couldn't really afford to get back and forth to school.
Wow.
And so that's why my grades was 1.7. And so when we moved to 13th and 13th and Central Park, which is in North Lawndale, my sister was already going to Collins Academy. And so I ended up connecting with one of my mentors, and I was like, look, I need help trying to enroll into Collins. And he helped me get into Collins. And from there, it was up. I started doing better. But due to my upbringing and everything that I had going on in my life, academically, I was behind. And so now I'm a junior. I'm a junior at Collins Academy. Like your initial question was like, how did I get to college, right?
Yeah.
Why did I end up at Trinity, right? And so I'm like, I gotta give you all that information so this can make sense.
All right.
But I got a 1.7 GPA. What you mean? How I'm gonna get to college? I ain't thinking about college, man. The whole thing I'm thinking about is like I'm gonna play basketball as good as I can, and hopefully I'll make it to the NBA or something, right? But it ain't really work out like that. So now I'm a junior in high school, and I'm reading at a third grade level, and the ACT is 3 months away. The reason I found out I was reading at a third grade level is because this program called YMAN, the Young Men's Educational Network, they created this where they had tested all of the students in the program to see what grade level they was reading on. And my score showed that I was on a third grade level. And so, but the ACT is the sum total of everything you've learned all the way up into your junior year. So if I'm reading at a third grade level and they finna be testing me. What 60 to 75% of the ACT is reading. Even when you're doing math, like it's reading comprehension, right? And so I'm like, man, I gotta do something. And so I literally dove deep into the program. And by the time it was time for me to take the ACT, I ended up being able to read at my grade level, ACT. And so I'm like, because I needed an 18 in order to be able to play college ball. And so one of my mentors from Slam, actually, he had a connection with a coach at Roosevelt University. So I was going to walk on at Roosevelt University, but I ended up getting sick and having to get surgery, and I missed a tryout or whatever, with a workout. And so I talked to my other mentor at Y-Man, and I was like, look, you remember when you said if I graduate high school, then talk to me about college? Like, well, look, I graduated. I got, and so luckily it was a pro, and they was giving high school students, well, high school graduates, 2 free years of education. And I'm like, oh, that's a no-brainer. Come on, let's go. Let's do this. And so I enrolled into that program. And my freshman year at Trinity, I had a 3.8 GPA, right? And then I'm like, initially I was supposed to do 2 years at with that program, but I was like, man, they ain't really challenging me. So I ended up moving on campus, and I was literally on my way to forfeiting the other year of free education just so I can go on campus and get the college experience. About 12 students was a part of this program, and only 4 of us stayed with it. And so after that, all the money that they was giving to the 11 students, they just put it all together and gave it to 4 students. And I was one of those 4 students. And I ended up being able to go to Trinity for 4 years for free. And then I walked on and played over there. I played at Trinity.
Nice. So I want to talk to you about basketball, because you pretty nice at basketball. Would you consider yourself pretty nice at basketball?
Right now I'm all right.
Right now you all right?
Give me like 2 weeks. I'm gonna be cold in 2 weeks.
Where'd your love for basketball come from?
My uncles. So my uncle played at Collins Academy. Well, the Collins High School. And he was like one of the top ranked players in our city. And he actually got records at Malcolm X College, right? He like historic. And so I remember being about 4 or 5 years old, and him and some of my other uncles in the front room watching. It was either an all-star game or just a Bulls game, and they just talking about basketball. And I'm just sitting there looking at them. And so ever since then, I'm like, bro, I'm a hoop. Ain't nobody ever put a basketball in my hand. I'm like, I play basketball. Mainly because I just heard them talking about it all the time. Yeah, that's pretty much why I started playing basketball.
Mm-hmm. If you had to pick one person, like who did you study? Or who did you who did you base your game off of, if anybody?
So when I first started watching basketball, really watching the game, I've been playing ever since I was 4 or 5 years old. And until I was probably in about 4th or 5th grade, I didn't watch basketball. I was out playing all the time. But when I really cut on the TV and started watching, the Bulls had Chris Duhon, Tyson Chandler, Kurt Heinrich, Andres Nocioni, Luol Deng, Ben Gordon, Tyrus Thomas, right?
Joakim Noah.
So Chris Duhon was my favorite player. No, before that. No,
before Joakim Noah came?
Way before him. And then, yeah. Joakim Noah came with Todd Gibson and Derrick Rose and all them. And so I ended up liking. I remember going to a Bulls game when I was actually playing baseball. I was playing on a baseball team with my brother. Like, 'cause we actually came up playing baseball first. In North Lawndale, in our community, it was baseball. Baseball was the predominant thing that everybody in the community played. Everybody on each block, they either had their own team where they was playing with, or they was at least on a team. Every kid, like even the girls, like they was playing baseball at Franklin Park. And so my coach ended up taking us to a Bulls game. And I remember Neil Funk and Stacey King, we came early and we was watching them work the scores table. And they gave me the schedule. They gave me the book that they had, that they always can look at the games on.
Yeah.
And see what the upcoming games. And Kerry Heinrich had signed the book for me. And so from that point, I started watching basketball. And then Derrick Rose came in the league, and I'm like, oh man, I'm finna be just like him. And I was freshman year in high school, I probably was like 108 pounds or something. But everybody was trying to dunk simply because Derrick Rose was around here dunking like that. And so it paid off too, though, right? Because like being at a young age, just jumping and doing all that stuff, like, of course, you're going to naturally get like athletic. So Derrick Rose is the player who I patterned my game out after as I was coming up. But because I patterned my game after him, of course, I had injuries and stuff, like minor injuries, whatever. And so when I got old and I learned the game more, I started to pattern my game more after like a Jamal Crawford or a Jamal Crawford or like Kurt Heinrich or something.
A lot of these young boys don't know about Jamal Crawford, man. Jamal Crawford is a walking bucket. Super talented dude. I remember when he played for the Bulls. He was one of my favorite guys to watch when he played for the Bulls. I was mad when they traded him. I thought we should have kept him.
Who, Kurt?
Jamal Crawford. I was mad when the Bulls traded him. I seen, like, you see the potential. You could see just how he could shoot, how he handled the ball. And when they traded him, I was like, yeah, the Bulls always giving away good players, man. They just give away. We don't have so many good players come through our team, and they just give them away.
Yeah, I never had the opportunity to see Jamal Crawford play for the Bulls. I told you I was outside playing, like trying to be Derrick Rose.
He was nice. They would. I thought he should have been starting over Kurt Heinrich. They would have Kurt Heinrich bring the ball up. Kurt Heinrich was better defensively. He was real tough defensively, but yeah, Jamal Crawford was. I feel like he was at the time. He was one of our best players, if not talent wise and being able just to get the ball in the bucket. He was probably our best player at the time when we had that ring. I actually had a ball signed by Chris Duhon, which I think either my mom has it in Ohio or I lost it. I can't remember. I think my mom might have it because she got a whole bunch of my stuff from my younger years out there. But yeah, I got to meet him. My wife has a picture with Joakim Noah. We met him at the water tower. She met him at the water tower. We met Taj Gibson twice. I ran into him at a gas station on Grand and Ashland, at the Shell's gas station. And then we seen him. It was him and all his guys. It was when my daughter was born. This was the first time we met him. She was a preemie in the hospital. We was on our way to go visit her. And he was broke down on the side of the road. He had a Camaro on some 28s. He had a white Camaro, some 28s. And then it was like four of his guys.
I wonder why I was broke down.
Well, you in Chicago with 28s, you hitting potholes, but you definitely gonna get a blowout. So he was right off the highway, and I didn't recognize him. My wife did. She was like, that's Taj Gibson. I was like, that ain't Taj Gibson. So she was like, bet some money. So I bit around the block, pull up, and it was Taj Gibson. So she like, let's see if he'll get a picture with us. I'm like, man, he literally has a flat tire. He don't look like he in the mood to take no pictures. And it was like, I want to say about 7 o'clock at night. You could say they finna go out. They was all done up or whatever. It was summertime. And so we pull up, we walk. As soon as we start walking up, one of his guys was like, "Nah, man, like not right now." But obviously they see me with the woman, and they was like, "All right, well, yeah, come on, like let's take a picture." So we got a chance to take a picture with him. So that was, I'm trying to think of anybody else. I seen D Rose play in person in high school. They played against Marshall, and it was an atmosphere, like the tension, South Side versus West Side. It was, gangs was there. It was a lot of tension there, and I just went because I had some of my guys that went there, and I decided to go too. I didn't go there, but it was an experience, man. It's too much engine for the little frame. He's just so fast, man. Like without even just hesitant, it's like one speed, and then he just keeps going. Just super freak athletically, man. I had never seen nobody run that fast on a basketball court ever. Not in person. And yeah, he was the first person I see be that fast and actually handle the ball. It's mind blowing how quick that dude is, and on just a split second can go from he already at 60, then he just amp it up to 100 instantly. It's just like, how do you guard that? So it was a sight to see. The place was rocking. So that was probably one of my favorite high school moments, watching that game. It was like everything about Chicago was at that basketball game. From the school rivalry, the gang activity that was there was just like, it was crazy. But one of my favorite moments of me being in high school was watching that, having the being able to watch that game. So you play basketball, and you play basketball did you play in high school? Is that how you got your scholarship?
I was on the team. No, I was on the team, but I wasn't able to like get and stay on the court. Like one of the reasons is because I didn't get recruited to any high school. Like I walked on everywhere that I went. And like coming from the elementary school that I went to, I went from being like just a regular person on the team to being like the number one option, right? I played 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. In my 6th and 7th grade year, we had 2 players on our team. One of them averaged 28, and the other one averaged 16 for 2 years straight. But I always was like good. I just never really had the opportunity to play. And so as soon as they left, I literally was the number one option. And so I never learned anything about a system, any of that. Like I was the person they get a ball to and go score. Like if you've ever watched like basketball in elementary school in Chicago, there's not too many people running a system or any of that. Now I didn't have money for like AAU. By the time I was playing in elementary school, CPS didn't have any funding for basketball programs. So we was playing through the Boys and Girls Club, and wasn't no coaches really coming to watch. Like no high school coaches was watching us. But so I always had the confidence that I can play. Right, I went from playing at Michelle Clark. I walked on at Michelle Clark, and then after I finished after I did 2 years at Michelle Clark, I went and transferred to Collins, and I walked on over there. Collins was in the Red West at the time, like one of the toughest conferences in the city. Like still now in the state, that's one of the toughest conferences in the state. And back then, it was even tougher. And so I didn't play in high school, mainly because, one, I wasn't ever able to commit to it enough to give myself a chance to learn the system, right? And they can't just put you in a game, right? No matter how much it is, right? The coach has to be able to trust me, and my teammates have to be able to trust me. So if I'm just a loner, of course I'm not gonna play. And ain't nobody in high school finna be like, man, this dude can help us. Let me try and help him learn the plays and all that. No, they like, man, if I'm getting all of the tick, I don't care. Buddy gonna have to figure it out on his own. So that was my thing in high school.
So you went to college, and then what did you walk on at college as well?
Yeah, I walked on at college. I was actually taking a biology course over the summer on campus. And in college, most of the athletes, they have short breaks. And most of the time they on campus working out or training and all that. And so I would just be in the gym all the time. Like I would be watching them practice, do whatever. Like when they have open gym, I'm trying to get in there. And so they was having open gym one time. And I connected with the girls basketball coach and I asked him to help me get on the team. He was like, man, I can't help you get on the team. The most I could do is put a word in for you. And he told the coach what he thought about me. And then the coach was like, come to our open runs. And then that's how I made the team. And then an hour later, I got suspended off the team. I got into an altercation with the guy, with somebody that was supposed to be the best player on the team. But man, it wasn't no best players, man. Before I came there, I looked in the archives and everything, and I'm like, bro, the record is 9-21. There's no best players here. And the coach was like, yes, it is. He is our best player. He was our leading scorer. And I'm like, no, he's not. Nothing. Like the average losing margin when y'all lose was 20 plus. And he only averaging 17 points a game. He's not helping here. What are you talking about? We all need to get better. He wasn't trying to hear that. He like, hey, look, just take the semester off. I'm like, all right. And I ain't come back. He called me over the summertime. It was like, man, you gonna come play? I'm like, no, I'm good. Then my junior year, they asked me if I wanted to play. I'm like, nah, I'm good. By the time my senior year, they was like, they wasn't thinking about me no way. But I always was playing because my goal was still to try and play professionally. And so I'm like, I'm still gonna train and work out or whatever. And I didn't want to end being a quitter. And so I called the coach and I was like, because a guy that I knew ended up becoming an assistant coach at the school. And I'm like, okay, this may be a better opportunity for me to play now. And so when I called, they wasn't really trying to give me an opportunity or whatever the case may be, but I am on the team. And so I ended up making the team again, but they forced me to play on the JV team. I think they was trying to make me quit, right? But I'm like, I'm not gonna quit regardless. Like, I didn't matter to me because when it's NAIA basketball, they have a JV team and they have a varsity team. The varsity team typically plays schools that are the same as them. The JV team plays against like the junior colleges with the D1 competition. So I'm like, I don't care. Like, I want to play against the best competition anyway. And so they literally had me at the back of the bench. They was trying to like, they thought they was gonna humble me. But I'm like, look, bro, I'm already humble. Don't you see that I'm playing right here? Like, I'm willing to sit on the bench. It doesn't matter to me. And they would literally only put me in for like 5 minutes a game. But I averaged about 5 points a game and two steals a game. They didn't run any plays for me, anything. I'm like, it is what it is, bro. Like after I was scored, they would sub me out of the game.
Wow.
It was only out of about 15, 16 games, they literally only played me like 2 games for a quarter or two. Like 2 or 3 games that I played like a full quarter or two. But then those whole quarters, they wasn't running plays for me. My teammates was, man, it was trash, but it is what it is. But
oh man,
it was the best time of my life though, because I didn't quit, and I'm like, man, I'm cool. Like I learned a lot from that.
Yeah. I don't take those experience for granted. When did so at this time, are you still pursuing trying to I'm gonna get to the league? Are you still trying to make moves to go to the league? What's your thought process at that time?
By the time I was a senior, when we would play, we would be traveling. Like we would travel like 2 or 3 hours away, and I couldn't take it. I'm like, no, I can't do this. Like imagine me playing professionally, not take the NBA out of it. Imagine me having to go overseas, taking a plane. I've been to Africa, and I hated that. Like I hated that out. Imagine me playing in the G League and those guys having to travel similar to the NBA guy. I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. Like, I'm not the type of person that's willing to be away from family. Nah, I take relationships serious. Like, it's hard to be. It's hard to make any relationship work if you're not physically present, right? So that's one of the reasons I really didn't even care about playing professionally. No way. I'm like, it is what it is. But I'll never stop playing unless God like, look, bro, chill.
All right, so you just play
Professionally or nothing. But I'm a firm believer. I want to do it at a high level. So I still train and play. Cool with that.
you do like semi pro leagues and stuff like that?
The last time I did a semi-pro league was during COVID. We were going and we would travel from Chicago to Iowa once a week, every week for like 9 months. We made it all the way to the finals and got swept. And I'm like, look, I can't do this. Like I experienced it all. Like I went from it being like super easy to going through shooting slumps and all of that. I'm like, look, bro, I commend those NBA players, man. Like what they do, I didn't even do like a little tip of what they have to do. All I was doing was traveling 6 hours in one day. That's it. Go to and from for 3 hours. And it felt so demanding, right?
Yeah.
Having to come back with people after you lose a game or something, and people emotions, and you gotta sit in the car with them, man. It is crazy.
I just listened to a podcast with Ray Allen, Knuckleheads podcast. And he was talking about like his routine. He's at the arena or the gym, wherever they're playing, as soon as it opens. So before the dancers, before anybody comes in that has the floor, before the NBA players, he's there working out, warming up, getting shots in. And then by the time the guys come in to do their routine and warm up, he's already there full blown sweat. And he would do 500 shots a day. It's a lot of shots. That's a lot of shots. I was talking to my son. I was like, man, you willing to do 500 shots every day to work on your, like, he's one of the top shooters in NBA history. And this is what he had to do to get to that. So if you want to be, my son loves Steph Curry. I'm like, if you want to be even close to Steph Curry, you got to do what Ray Allen did. Like, you got to start doing that because Steph Curry beat his record. So I'm like, man, it's a lot. But the press conferences, all of those things, I never had hoop dreams to that level. Like, I just used to love to
like
play.
It's more than basketball.
I used to love to play, and I still do love to play. I played last night, and I'm like feeling it right now, kind of sore. I'm
finna go play after we get done talking.
Yeah, I was but my love for the game went away when I tore a ligament in my knee, and yeah, I was going through the healing process. I was all excited because I'm only 5'7", but I was able to dunk. And so I was like, man, I started dunking. Then when I started dunking, knee injury, and I was running track at the same time. And so I was set down, and then now I'm trying to get back, not fully injured it, but re-aggravated my knee again. And so I was like, I don't even want to hoop no more. Like, having to go through physical therapy, you got to get your mental right. I was just like, eh. And I had, my coach told me that I had potential to have world-class speed. And he told me my focus should be track. If I want to do anything professionally as far as sports, it should be track. And so that's what I was focusing on. But trying to get back right, get confidence in myself and my body, it was a lot. And at that age, I was just like, man, forget it. Like, I ain't care. Man. So I just gave it up.
If it was just basketball, I could do it. But it's way more to it. Like press conferences, traveling. Then you married. Then now you gotta pay people. You gotta
pay people. You gotta negotiate shoe deals or brand deals and all this other stuff. It's a lot.
Man, look,
You
I ain't got
got
time for that.
you represent not just yourself and your family, but now you represent the NBA. And if NBA don't like certain things, it's a lot of politics. It's a lot of politics in NBA now. So
Then
it's a lot.
imagine being on a losing team, like, and you not the star player, or you not even in a rotation. You not. Some people be like, man, they could pay me to do that. Yeah, they could pay me to do that for like 2 or 3 years, and I'm gone. Like, I'm not gonna do this for the rest of my life. Just
If you
sit
really
back
care
here.
about
Nah,
playing, you
bro.
want to play. You don't want to be just on the bench or get in during the
Exactly.
garbage minutes when we losing by a dub and then they put you in for 2 minutes. Like you really want to, I really want to hoop. So if I ain't really hooping, I'm here just getting the check. Like I don't want to do that.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a lot to go in. But man, we talked about a lot, your upbringing, your love for basketball, your basketball experience. We talked about college. Before we dive into the music, I want to talk about your faith. I want to talk about when did you get saved and what was your coming to Jesus moment? I want you to share that with us.
My whole life, I always believed there was a God, but I never like it until I was about what? I think I went to this camp called Kids Across America, and I was probably about 12, 11 years old. And that's when I made a conscious decision to believe in God. We went to this camp in Branson, Missouri called Kids Across America, and they have this tradition where they usually do this thing called crosstalk. And crosstalk is basically a reenactment of the crucifixion. And so it moved me, and I'm like, look, man, this gotta be. After that, I'm 12, 13 years old, come home and I'm on fire. I'm like, man, look, the way we living is crazy. Like, we gotta fix this. Imagine, I already told you the environment that I was raised and came up in. Imagine what that was like. And so a couple weeks, well, maybe a week or and a half after, I'm like, look, it is what it is. Don't nobody care. So after that, I'm like, look, it is what it is. So now I knew that God was real. Now I believed in God, but I wasn't operating from that mindset or lifestyle I was living in, the environment that I was living in. I didn't go to KAA for like 2 or 3 years after that, because when I was at KAA, it was the worst experience of my life besides the crosstalk thing, because when I was at KAA, I literally was finna fight every single day. 7 days straight, I'm finna fight. It was the first time I ever left Chicago and encountered somebody that looked like me but sound totally different. Like, it was people that from Atlanta, from Texas, Missouri, all these different places, right? And they got accents. Memphis. I'm like, ooh, boy, you talking crazy. Like, why do you sound like that? And so I was culture shocked, right? And so from it created a disconnect with me and the people there. And so we was always butting heads. When I tell you, I was gonna fight for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, literally, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so I'm like, man, I ain't never going back there no more. But eventually, by the time I was like 15, 16 years old, I'm like, man, I gotta go back to KA, right? So I went back to KA, they did crosstalk again, and I rededicated my life to Christ. Came back home, did the same thing that I did when I was 12, came back home and was trying to, and everybody wasn't really trying to hear it. The people that I hung with and all that stuff, my brothers and sisters, they weren't really trying to hear it. I still believe in God, and I'm going to try and live my life differently. But you know how it is, right? You go through seasons where it's up and down. So like, yeah, whatever. Come on.
Why
so
you
I go
think?
to KA again.
My bad, real quick. Why do you think that they weren't, like, the people in that was close to you wasn't trying to hear it?
They didn't have the same experience that I had. It's kind of like when you playing sports, and your coach tell you to do something, but then you on the court and you see it from a different perspective, and you don't do what your coach told you to do, and now you got to try and explain it to your coach. He's like, no, I told you to do this. You ain't do this, so that's why you on the bench. And it just don't make sense to you. So y'all both want the same thing, but it's just creating a disconnect because what's in your head is not connecting with what's in his head. And the same thing, like, don't nobody want to go to hell. Don't nobody want to burn for eternity. Nobody want to do none of that stuff, right? But if the way that I'm sharing it is not connecting with you, it just seemed like a bunch of BS. Like, my family is full of convicted felons, drug dealers, gang bangers, all of that. And of course, guess who they pray to when something bad happens, right? So everybody is aware of God, but not everybody trusts in him. And so when I come trying to tell them, like, look, man, probably shouldn't be smoking cigarettes. I'm 16 years old. You probably shouldn't be smoking cigarettes. You shouldn't be cursing, right? And I'm the same dude a week ago who was cursing, right?
Yeah.
Like who fights and do all of this. And so it's different. Like, it's just hard to try. People want you to be perfect before you tell them something, right? And then when you be even better than what you ever been, they'll tell you like, oh, so you think you better than me? You perfect, right? So in other words, man, it's personal. It got to be something personal for you. You got to experience it. You got to experience the love of God in a more intimate and personal way. Otherwise, ain't nothing nobody can tell you.
Yeah.
And so I went back to KA, and this time I was just fed up with standing up and rededicating my life to Christ. For me, I felt like everybody there was putting on the front, like monkey see, monkey do. It's kind of like when you at church and the pastor say, if anybody ain't ever gave their life to Christ or want to give their life to Christ or rededicate their life to Christ, go ahead and stand up. Adults do it too. Like, they look from their left to their right and they see who gonna get up or whatever, because they don't want to be the first one or the only one. So people get up. Me, in that moment, when that thing happened again, that altar call happened again, I told myself, I ain't gonna stand up. I'm gonna live it. And ever since then, I was 16, 17 years old. I've been taking my faith serious. Like, when I was in high school, like when I was at Collins, I literally used to go around the school with my Bible in my book bag. Sometimes I take my Bible out at lunch and read a verse or something at lunch. My British literature teacher used to call me Malcolm Farrakhan because I used to wear like those sweaters that used to have the diamonds on them, like the diamond shapes on them. I used to wear those joints when we had opportunities to dress down, right? But when it was time to play, like, people, it's like I was two people in one, but I was always like myself. Like, cause when it was time for school, I was like locked in, and I wore glasses and all of that. Like, and then when it was time for basketball, people don't even recognize who I am. They're like, man, I didn't know that you played on the basketball team. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I just go in the gym and practice. But I took my faith serious, right? Like, I was never like the person that would try and fit in or do any of that. Even when I wasn't like full-fledged, like serious about my faith, I never was like person to try and like gang bang in school or like be like the coolest or the most popular or anything. I just did the things that normal kids would do, like play a sport. If you like music, you do music. If you like playing the drums, you play the drums. It is what it is. So I was like, it's either you're super lame or you super cool. They're the only two options that people gonna accept when you at school. You can't be in the middle. And I was in the middle. So not too many people was trying to hang with me, which I didn't care no way. I'm like, bro, because you're gonna have to see me on the court, right? You're not gonna talk to me any type of way. So, but I'm not finna sit up here and start fights and do all of that. So I never was like, yeah, it was interesting, man. Like, people, I would be in class with people and they wouldn't even know that I'm in the same class as them because I'm so focused when I'm in school. It was crazy. It's crazy stuff. But yes, so I really started taking my faith serious by the time I was about 16, 17 years old. And ever since then, I ain't looked back.
Okay. Dope, dope. So this is the reason why we're all here. You do music. You consider yourself a rapper? Do you consider yourself like a hybrid? You do a little bit of singing, but what would you consider yourself?
I'm I'm an artist. That's what I call. That's what I consider myself, an artist. Um, like even all those people that I said that I like. I think Chance the Rapper is the most artistic out of all of them. Like he's not a rapper. Like I don't see Chance the, even though his name is Chance the Rapper, I don't view him as a rapper. Like I feel like he's extremely artistic. And even Lecrae, like extremely artistic, even enough artistic. And so I'm not trying to be no rapper. Like my thing is, it's something about music that is extremely infectious when it comes to our culture and the youth. I remember hearing Christian artists, and it just stuck with me for the rest of my life. I remember the first time I heard a Lecrae song, like I know it word from word. And now that I'm older, like I understand the words that he was talking about. But I remember seeing them over and over and over again, right? And it was doing something to my psyche. It was doing something to my mental. And maybe it didn't affect me in a way right away, but I know it. And now it is way more relevant and fruitful now that I'm older and can understand what he was talking about. And so that's the same thing that I'm trying to do with music. I'm trying to use music to help our students, help our youth in our community dream bigger than they ever dreamed, right? I'm not trying to get a record deal, none of that. But I'm not turning down nothing but my collar. Like, you hear me? It is what it is. Like, if an opportunity presents itself, I'm not finna, of course, I'm not gonna sign with a record label or nothing, because that ain't something that I enjoy the freedom of being able to be myself. And I just feel like record labels, they always try and put you in a box. They see one particular thing that you good at, and they feel like, man, I could profit off of this. And they want to put you in that box for a whole year, or a whole 5 years. No, I'm like, I ain't got time for that. Right. And so I even with my music, it's very hard for somebody to listen to me and say, man, he sound like this. He sound like this person. He sound like that person. Mainly because everything that I write is literally inside of me. Like I don't go and search outside of me to go and find anything. Like if a harmony comes to my head, I record it on my voice memo, right? And I keep it. And then when I hear a beat, I'm like, ooh, this might match with this. Or if I like a beat, and I can't come up with no words, but I got voice memos, I just go down my voice memos and see what matches. Or if I have an idea or a topic in my head and it just come naturally, I just keep going before I even get a beat, and then I put it with a beat. So like my main thing is I want everything that I do to be authentic. I ain't trying to portray nothing that I'm not. Like I want to be brutally honest about how I view the world, my faith in God, my appreciation for my culture, all types of stuff. And it's hard to do that if you're doing it for like clout, to be known by people. I don't care about being known, man. Like,
yeah, because you always
I
gonna be
was
trying to
satisfied
please people.
Exactly. Man, one of my biggest accomplishments for my album, well, my EP that I just wrote, that just released, Bigger Picture. I got a song in there called "Mama, I'm Proud of You," right? And I wrote that song to my mom because she struggled with drug addiction, and now she like doing better. And I'm like, "Mama, I'm proud of you." In a song, like basically going through her journey. And one of somebody had listened to it, right? And then they sent me a text message. And they was like, man, thank you. Like, I wish, I'm still hoping that my mom could do what your mom do. Like, I felt that, right? That's cool with me. If I get one of those per album, I'm cool with that. Because that's the whole point of doing it. Like, you never know who life you're gonna change. Lecrae don't know me from a can of paint, but he don't understand that his song shaped my life.
Yeah.
Take me. He got a song called "Take Me as I Am." Shaped my life.
Yeah.
Like, who I am today is shaped. Part of me is shaped off of that song.
That's real,
So
man. That's real. When did you start doing music?
I started recording music in 2020. I just felt like, so I got a younger brother. His name is Tommy. His rap name is Manny the Don. But I started doing music in 2020 because I was inspired by a beat I was listening to on YouTube or whatever. I don't even remember how I came across the beat. But for some reason, I was walking down the stairs and I came up with a hook, literally. I don't even know how it happened. I'm like, I just came up with a hook. And the song that came from that hook is called Raised in the Trenches. And that song is basically talking about the journey of me being raised in an urban community and seeing my peers ending up in crazy situations that I never would have thought of because of the character that they had when we were younger. And so my brother featured on the song with me. And ever since then, I'm like, man, look, I'm just going to keep recording music. But I actually recorded a different song when I was a part of the White Man program as a student. Is actually the White Man theme song now. But
okay.
And so I always was making music though. Like when I went out to college, I was making music, never really recording it, but was always making music. I remember being in my dorm room having GarageBand open. And I'm literally like piecing together layers, like from doing ad libs and all types of stuff.
Yeah.
Using voice memos, like it was crazy. And so, yeah, so you could technically say I've been doing music since about 2013, but like really professionally recording it 2020.
Dope. So I wanna dive into some of these tracks on your new EP, and I want to know like your thought process behind this EP. So you got a new EP out. I want you to talk about it. What was the inspiration behind it? Share the name of it.
Mm-hmm. So Bigger Picture was the first song that I created. And it originally was called Free Falling, right? I had a melody in my head and I'm like, free falling, I'm all in. Right? I had that melody in my head and I didn't know what I was gonna do with it. So I recorded it on my voice memo. And then by the grace of God, right, this engineer, his name Gigi, this man sent me 5 free beats. And then he was doing a special for Black Friday where you get 30 beats unlimited, like with an unlimited lease for $40. You get 30 beats for $40. Beats typically cost about $15 to $30, and that's just for a regular lease.
Yeah.
Right, but he gave me, I'm like, dang, that's crazy. So as soon as he gave me those beats, I'm like, man, will you look at God? God must want me to do this. And so as soon as I went through looking through all the beats, and I had a bunch of stuff that I was trying to put a beat to, but I wasn't finna make any more music until I connected with an engineer where I can like own the beats. Because it's basically a waste of money when you don't own the beat.
Yeah.
But like you don't have an unlimited lease because like the studio time costs a lot. Getting it mixed and mastered costs a lot. And so you don't want to end up thousands of dollars in the negative because you're just trying to create a couple songs. So man, all those beats came through. I'm like, okay, I'm finna make a whole album, a few albums. That's how we came up. That's how I came up with Bigger Picture, and then my EP in my album that's coming out with my brother. But so Bigger Picture stemmed from that. And that song is literally about me talking about what it's like to be who I am. Like, it's crazy. Like, you being a Christian and people thinking that they always try to label you as perfect. Like, you can't believe in God. Like, it's like you can't be in our culture and believe in God in a way and try and live it out in a way where it's glorifying to Him without somebody trying to say you should be a pastor, you should be this, you should be that, right? You can't it's not okay for you to struggle no more, right? Just because you believe in God. But I'm like, no, it's a bigger picture. Like, everything that you've been through, everything you're gonna go through, like, it's a whole purpose for it. So yeah, that's where that song stemmed from.
Okay. All right. What about you touched on this one earlier, MIPOU. That's the
That's
second track.
basically the initials for Mama, I'm Proud of You. Yeah. So that song, that was originally supposed to be on the that's crazy, because that song was supposed to be on the Under Pressure album, and my brother was gonna feature on it. And so when I was writing the hook and the verse, I was sharing it with him. I'm like, you sure you want to get on this, or should I just put this on my own? He was like, yeah, just go ahead and put it on your own. And so I had no control over that. Like, literally. Like, every song on the album, on that EP, I had no control over it. I kid you not.
What you mean by you didn't have no control over it?
Like, I feel like everything that was written was bred out by God. Like, God did it Himself. Because I can't take the credit for none of it. I was just, when it was coming, I was just doing it. Right? It was already inside of me, and God patterned it the way that He wanted it to be. I had no control over it. And so, like, in the second verse, when I'm talking about my mom and stuff, talking about how she basically was resurrected in a sense. Right? I was using using imagery and a metaphor, trying to say, like, man, they treated you like this, but they had no idea that you was gonna be this, right? And so it's just to I was trying to encourage my mom, but also encourage the listeners too. Like, man, you're gonna go through something that nobody is ever gonna understand, and they're gonna try and label you, they're gonna try and do all of this, they're gonna try and throw dirt on you, all that.
Yep.
But look, I was like, they tried to cross you like Jesus, but you rose up from the ground, and they all couldn't believe it, right? And then I'll talk about how my grandma died trying to make a way for all of us. Like, she died from cancer, trying to make a way from all of us. And I was so emotional, because I'm like, man, I wish grandma would have been able to see you do this. Right? You probably would have gave her 10 more years on her life if she would have seen you accomplish this. You would have gave her hope. So and at the end, I literally didn't have anything else to say, but, like, I'm proud of you, right? And so in the hook is single mother under pressure. She was trying to survive. Look in her eyes, she would smile. Deep inside, she was down. Now that I'm older, I can finally see that we made it through the struggle, because you carried the team. Adjust your crown, mama. I worship you like a queen. Look at me now, mama. Your baby boy is a king. Like, my perspective of my mom is not the same as my brothers and sisters, right? Or my cousins, or whoever saw her journey. Yeah, like, what you talking about? She a queen? Like, how you worshiping her? Like, she was a drug addict, right? She wasn't there for you. Like, what are you talking about? But I'm like, no, the sacrifice that she had to make. Like, do you know that's imagine you, right, saying, look, man, I'm not the man that my kids need me to be. And me being around in the stage that I'm in right now is not healthy for them. I got to detach myself from them and let their mom be the best version of herself because I'm not helping her. And you saying, like, I got to go. I'm fighting my demons right now. I got to go. How easy do you think that would be for you to do?
No, that was
All the voices
extremely
that
hard.
all the
Extremely
voices
hard.
that'll be going on in your head, like that take one hell of a leader. Right? To do something that's so selfish that the essence of it is selfless. Right? That's crazy. Right? People don't really think about that. And so now that I'm older, I'm like, I can finally see like that we made it through the struggle because you carried the team. Like it was my mom, she got so deep into like drugs and stuff, she just dropped us off at my grandma's house. And her knowing that, like, look, my grandma gonna come through. My mama, she got my kids, right?
Yeah.
I don't gotta just leave them there and then DCFS come and take them and do all that.
And some people don't understand because they figure that, oh man, that's like, it's selfish of her to why she couldn't get herself right, why she had her kids. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how some people will look at it. Not understanding like she couldn't do it. She couldn't, maybe mentally it was a lot of weight and she needed that extra person to step in to help. What you said was your grandmother so that she can, get herself right. Because maybe she was bringing y'all down at the same time while she was trying to get herself up because it was such a stronghold on her.
It's crazy. Like that's a God perspective. Like that ain't me. Like how I'm gonna be able to think of it from that perspective. I'm the one experiencing. I'm collateral damage for her struggle. How can I take my glasses off and be able to see that what she did was one hell of a sacrifice? That's why I'm like, man, that ain't had nothing to do with me. Like God wrote that. He just used me to write it. So
dope. I love the transparency and the vulnerability of your music. Especially with something so close, like, it's dealing with your mom. So I know it was a lot of emotion, a lot of, probably feelings and things that came out in the process of writing that. But I think that's dope, man. I think that's dope. It's a real song that like a lot of people can relate to that. I know people personally that can relate to that story with just some of the things that you said in there. So third track on the EP is Pick Your Side. Talk to us about Pick Your Side.
Pick a side. Being a believer, like sometimes we be trying to have our cake and eat it too, and then we we want to go to God and say, man, what? No, bro, it's your fault. Like it's vivid. Like in the Bible, it say God don't like lukewarm Christians. He gonna spit you out. Like I say that in the verse. I'm like, you can't live for God in, man. Pick a side, pick a side. When it's time to stand on business, you're gonna fold or you're gonna slide. That's me saying, like, when it's time to be accounted for, to be a Christian, to do the things that you say you believe, are you gonna fold or are you gonna stand up to it? Then in the verse, I was like, you be in and out. 1 minute you save, the next you live in foul. Pray to God for help. Then when he give it, you be dipping out, chasing clout, woofing like you tough. You better shut your mouth. Like that's me addressing people personally, right? And I wanted to put that song in there because Christian artists don't really get up close, like get in the face of the listeners. Like they always want to say, how great God is and all of that. When no, like God literally, he told us how the beginning, the middle, and the end gonna happen. Like, bro, no, like tell these people, like, step it up. Like we gotta step it up. It's because of us being lukewarm, being halfway in, halfway out, but people can't even trust God. We supposed to be the spitting image or the reflection of how people should view God, but we doing it so wrong. Like how we out here clubbing on Saturday and then we singing in the choir on Sunday, like, and then we can't even say nothing to each other about it. Like, no, like ain't no way. And that's me talking to myself too. Like, how you sitting up here I'm like how am I sitting up here trying to tell somebody, man, the things that come out of your mouth matter. But when I get frustrated, I automatically go to like what I'm used to.
Right.
Right? I come from a household where like you get loud and you get all in people's face, you curse them out. They need to feel you, right? And I'm like, no, I got to figure out how to do it better. Like, and so all of the stuff that I'm saying in every last one of my songs, I'm not just talking to them, I'm talking to me. Like I'm telling myself, look, you can't live for God and man, pick a side. Like, no. So it's just crazy, man.
Nah, that's real, dude. That's real. Especially the going to church or going to the club on a Saturday, and then you would singing in the choir, you playing the drums, and I've had those experiences personally where we had people sit down and they left the church because they're like, well, what you mean? And it was like, bro, you can't live a sinful lifestyle and then think, just because you have a talent that you allowed to display that talent in the church because your grandmother prayed for you. But yeah, nah, people just be want to do their own thing. My biggest issue with the world and culture is that people want to wear the Christian banner. They want to have a Christian title and then not live according to that word. And it's one thing to be like, man, if you want to live how you want to live, that's cool. But don't call yourself a Christian because you can't live how you want to live and call yourself a Christian. Like we all have our issues and our struggles, things that, we're going through the sanctification process. But I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about people who literally refuse to come under the word and then say, I'm a Christian. I mean, I'm gonna live a gay lifestyle, but I'm still a Christian. No, you're not. We supposed to put off the old man. We supposed to walk in the new man, right? We're not supposed, you can't be like, man, I'm out here gang banging, selling drugs, but I'm a Christian. No, you're not. It's one thing to have those temptations and to be like, man, I feel like really punching somebody in their face, but because I'm a Christian, I'm not. Like that's the difference in the mindset that we should have. Like we always gonna have temptations and stuff like that. Exactly. So yeah, man, I like the boldness. I like the aggressiveness. It reminds me a lot of Bizzle. I listen to Bizzle a lot, and he really like make you really look yourself in the mirror in a lot of his music. So I really appreciate that joint, man. And it went hard. So what about Free-ish?
So Free-ish, so at that time, a lot of stuff was going on with like Kanye West and Kyrie Irving. And I'm like, a couple years ago, I made a song called Empathy. And it stemmed from a movie that I had watched. And it was called American Skin. And so Empathy was me basically addressing like America, saying like, look, as Black people, man, we're not asking y'all to be nice to us. We're not asking y'all to be feel sorry for us. Like we just want some empathy. Like we want the same common courtesy that y'all requiring of us, right? I get that you're in captivity, right? But your family members may have, right? And I get that. I hope that you get that I'm not the one that's sitting here sticking you up and robbing you, right? So the same amount of empathy and compassion you have for me, I mean, you want me to have for you, I need you to have that for me. And so Empathy is one of those like Black history songs, right? And so now with Free-ish, I'm addressing my people. I'm like, look, bro, like y'all need to wake up, man. Like we sitting up here tearing down Kanye West, talking crazy about him, talking bad about Kyrie Irving, about the decision that they make. And the reason you notice those two songs are right next to each other, pick a side in Free-ish, right?
Right.
In the same way with your faith, you either in or out. It's like in terms of our culture, you either gonna be in or out. You all the way in or you ain't in at all, right? And when it's time for us to be accounted for each other, like we love to try and shame each other, right? I need you to just entertain me. But anyway, I went into it saying, Kanye say we Jews and they called him crazy. Kyrie say we Jews, they say he racist. Pac said get your money right before you start a movement. It's gonna be a riot. You're gonna cause a revolution, right? And that I feel like that whole hook is self-explanatory. But the first verse, I was like, you can't free a slave if you don't liberate the mind first. It's hard to make a meal. They don't understand a dime's worth, right? And from bar to every bar, like it's like quadruple entendres in it.
Yeah.
Like,
I text you when I heard that one verse. I was like, I'm gonna text him right now because he was like, why you buying chains if your goal is to be free? And that just hit me. It's because, man, I think so many our people, they is enslaved to jewelry. And it's like they do anything to get a bag. And man, I seen a picture of who was that? It was Kodak Black. This dude had 2 watches on. And then a whole bunch of bracelets on one arm.
Can't
like
tell 50, the time on
50 chains. And I'm like, why you got 2 watches on, fam? Now, I'm not saying you can't have a nice watch. But for him, you got 2 icy watches on. For what? Why you got 2? You could have bought one watch, took the money that you was going to spend on the other watch and gave back to your community or blessed somebody or, started a business or invested in something. Like, why you got 2? Do you wear them at the same time? This is like, you look silly, fam. You look silly.
Bro, they don't get it. Like I told you, you can't free a slave if you don't liberate the mind first. It's hard to make a meal because they don't understand a dime's worth. Like they don't understand the value of a penny or a dime, right? Or they don't understand anything. Like, and so you basically talking to a brick wall. And so throughout the song, at the end, I'm like, why we buying chains if the goal was to be free? We got to change the way we live, but that all start with how we think, right? It's crazy, like, and that song stemmed from empathy and another song. And in one of the verses, I was like, you can buy all the chains you want. You just the iced out slave. You remember that song Kanye West had made, New Slaves, right?
Yeah.
I was like, they say the bigger the bullet, the louder the bang. I say the icier chain, the cheaper your coffin, right? Like we buying all this stuff. Like, bro, when you die and go in that dirt, bro, they gonna try and do it the most financially efficient way possible. Like,
look what Takeoff family doing right now. They fighting over his estate right now. His mama and his daddy.
Guess what? We free-ish. And that's why it's called free-ish, man. We kind of free. Like you never be fully free until you understand like the value of your life, the value of your culture, the value of people. Like, man, we gonna be forever free-ish.
Yeah.
So that's where that song stemmed from.
That's real spiel, man. It's real spiel. Number 5, the 5th track on the EP is Keep Your Head Up. Talk to us about Keep Your Head Up.
So that song is actually from the perspective of my older brother, right? My older brother. If you listen to it and you hear what I'm talking about, I'm literally just writing out his life. Keep your head up. That's what they telling me, but I can't catch a break. I'm trying hard. Somebody help me, please. All this time I spend inside this cell, I can barely think. In and out of jail so many times, I can barely. And so I don't try it again, but nothing worked. Trying to change my life around, searching for my purpose, feeling worthless. I'm a man, don't know what I'm supposed to be. Trying to shake my past and do this right. I got hopes and dreams. I remember way back before I lost my innocence. I was married to the game and everything that came with it. I was locked in my hood. I had a name, but not because of trapping. Like I really had game. Like so, my brother, he literally, he came under my uncle. Like he's seen like all the stuff my uncle was able to do with basketball. So my brother, he was an extremely good baseball player and a basketball player. Around our neighborhood, they used to call him Shorty Flame, like real talk. Like he was cold. And so now he at a stage in his life where he doing much better. But it's a battle. It's an everyday battle trying not to go back to what you used to, right? He grew up in the same household I did without no parents. Like his dad died in prison when we were younger. My mom wasn't around. He was raised by my grandma. Like he didn't even have an opportunity to play high school basketball. He dropped out of high school in his freshman year, right? And then he started selling drugs, so he was in and out of jail. And now he's really trying to do something with his life. And I'm basically just rapping from the conversation. That's basically that song. But I feel like anybody can resonate with that song because you ever been in a place during your lifetime where all you get is people telling you, look, it's gonna be all right? And on your face, you trying to do it, like you trying to accomplish something, you trying to do better, but you just can't. But all you study hearing, keep your head up. Like, what you mean keep my head up, bro? I could barely keep my eyes open. Like, I could barely keep my mind focused. How? And so that's what
I think Lil Boosie said that in the interview. I think he was fighting the case. He was facing some jail time. And he said he got tired of people telling him that, calling him like, hey, keep your head up. And it was like to the point where he was like, man, like, come help me. Like, figure out how to keep my head up. Like, I want to hear y'all just tell me that. Like, that don't mean anything to me. Like, what are you doing to help me? Like, I don't know how to like keep my head up right now. I think that's where community is so important because I really don't I don't believe in like just telling people just blanket statements. It's like, yeah, man, keep going, or you're doing your thing. Like, I wanna know why you doing what you're doing, or how can I come alongside of you and invest time or resources, even money, into what you're doing. Which is the reason why I wanted you to come on this podcast, because it's not just about like, I ain't no big name, right? I ain't got like a million subscribers and all that other stuff, but I appreciate what you're doing, not just from the music, which is the reason why this interview is so long, is because I wanted to touch on every aspect of your life. And then we talk about the music, and then even what you're doing as far as Why Man and that slam, because I think it's important to understand a person's thought process. And so it's like, man, let me understand what he's doing, and man, how can I come alongside of him? And I believe that your story is unique and it needs to be told. And so, yeah, I don't like just, yeah, man, keep your head up or keep going, or you're doing a good job. Like, man, I want to learn. Like, I want to know how you doing what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. Like even my brother now, like the fact that like he didn't graduate from high school, right? Barely graduated from 8th grade. Like the last day of school, 8th grade year, like he get into a fight, right? And so he didn't really walk across stage, do none of that. Like his best friend got killed in a dice game 2 blocks away from our school under a viaduct. Like, so like in terms of age, he a grown man, but mentally, like he never had the opportunity to mature. So he's still learning stuff. Like, that's why I'm like, I'm a man, don't know what I'm supposed to be, trying to shake my past, do this right. I got hopes and dreams. Like, there's no room in this society for a man, let alone a black man, to be able to have hopes and dreams. It's either you doing something or you not. So it's crazy.
They come down on us real hard. It's instead of understanding like why this person is getting into all these fights, or it's just like, nah, suspended or expelled. It's like, yo, fam, his friend just died. So he's still trying to process his emotions and his feelings. And you got some person that say one thing and set him off. Like, his whole graduation experience shouldn't be took away from him because he got into a fight and he dealing with some stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, these schools don't think about this stuff, and they don't help us to process why. Like, oh, your son is real hyper. he running around. Like my son is extremely hyper. My son don't know how to sit still. His school would be like, oh, something wrong with him. Let's put him on Ritalin. He can't sit still. Instead of like, oh, let's understand like why he's so hyper. Well, let's do something where he can use that energy for something productive. But they just want everybody to fall under their system and their way of teaching and learning. Everybody don't learn like that. Like I'm not a book reader learner. I learn through experience. I'm a very hands-on, direct person. Like you could show me a video on how to run this setup that I have, but until I actually do it and put it together and do it myself, I'm not gonna learn. I don't care how many times you explain it to me. I need to sit down and work through it myself. And so not everybody learns like that. My daughter, she taught herself how to draw. She just watched a YouTube video and was like, yeah, and just started drawing. My other daughter, she know how to bake. She self-taught herself how to bake. And my wife can read something and be like, okay, she can understand exactly how it's supposed to be. So everybody learns in a different way. And I don't think these schools put enough resources behind teaching these kids in the way that they need to be taught. And we go through something. And then when you fall out of line, they so quick to be like, all right, this person is something's wrong with them. Yeah, it's crazy if you ask me. Last track, God did. When I first seen this, I was like, is he about to do the DJ Khaled God did remix or something like that? What's going on? So let's talk about God did, bro.
So I actually got that beat from my little brother. And God did it. Literally. Like I literally just started rapping. I can't take the credit for what God did. And that's me really chastising myself. Right? Because it's real easy to get prideful, right? It's super easy to get prideful. When God the one that put all the work in. And that's why I'm like, I don't need your compliments. I'm not lacking confidence, right? People be like, man, you're doing so good. I like your music. You're like, now look, chill, bro. Like, get a glory to God. Clap for me, that's cool. But let's clap together for what God is doing, like, through me for the people. Right? So I can't take the credit for what God did. Fumble with my life all on my own. Like, that's a bunch of like wordplay and stuff on there. Like some people, it's gonna go over a lot of people's head, and I just try to make it super repetitive. So the whole EP can go out with a bang, and people are like, I can't take the credit. Like God did the whole thing, man. I'm telling you. Like some people can go and they want me to like do features, or people don't send me beats and say, look, let's collaborate, let's do this. And I'm like, all right, cool. But don't expect me to just magically come up with stuff. Like, cause I ain't have no control over that. 100% of the music that I come up with, it wasn't like in my control. Like it just comes natural. I'm not sitting out here taking a beat and trying to force the issue. No. Like if it comes, it comes. If it don't, it don't. Like some songs take months just for me to write them, and I'm cool with that. Like, but yeah, that God did song is crazy.
Yeah, dope. The whole EP is dope, man. I liked it, man. I gave it like 3 listens, zoned out to it. I was on my way to pick up my kids, and I listened to it in my headphones, and I listened to it in the car. I wanted to hear how the beats be knocking. So man, it was good, man. So everybody who watched this video, make sure y'all go and listen to the EP. It's called I just forgot the name of it. It's
Bigger Picture.
It's called Bigger Picture. Bigger Picture. What can they find it at? What can they stream it?
It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube. He got a couple other videos on YouTube as well.
Go ahead and make some TikToks or something.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you about that, man. I don't know how TikTok works. I don't have TikTok. I need to probably go holler at my wife about this. How does TikTok sounds work? Like, can you just upload your like music and then
yeah. So my music is automatically. So TikTok is low key considered as a streaming platform.
Oh, okay.
And so the same way that you make reels and all that stuff, like it's even on Snapchat, like it's on Instagram, like everywhere.
Oh,
So
okay.
you could put my name in, like when you make a video, you can type my name in and my music gonna pop up.
Oh, dope. All right. Bet, man. Well, we almost been at this for almost 2 hours. Before you get out of here, man, I want you to give me your top 5 rap artists or artists, period, dead or alive. Top 5.
Top 5. Buckwich. People love to try and talk about Tupac, but I don't think Tupac was really that crazy with nothing. Like I think he was a real good storyteller. I think people overrate him because he died at a young age when he was actually good. Like he was good. When he died, he was good. When he was alive, he was good.
Are you talking about from a
But I
lyrical
don't
perspective?
think he was better than Biggie. As an artist, as a whole, rappers and stuff, I'm talking about. Like I look at it from an artist perspective. Like I appreciate when people can be dynamic and be relevant in a way where a huge body of people can rock with it. Like for example, Tupac, I still think Tupac cold because my grandma would play Tupac, right? That keep your head up, or dear mama, that's cool, right?
Yeah.
But like iconic songs that he made, like when you go and listen to a Tupac album, I'm not moved by it. Besides the songs that's like extremely popular, like the ones that we already know about, like the ones that he did when he was beefing with Biggie or whatever. Okay, yeah, I can get with those. But in terms of like his catalog and stuff, I ain't really like rocking with that. Same thing with Biggie too, right? But Biggie, I think Biggie was a better rapper than Tupac. But so
I do too.
my top 5 rappers probably what J. Cole, Lil Wayne, J. Cole, Biggie. This ain't in no particular order either.
Okay.
Chance the Rapper. That's mainly because he like one of my favorite rappers though. Who else? I got one more. And I would probably put Jay-Z.
So Jay-Z, Chance the Rapper, Lil Wayne, who'd you say? J. Cole.
J. Cole,
and Biggie.
Jay-Z, Chance the Rapper, Biggie, and who else did I say? Who was the fifth? So J. Cole, Chance the Rapper, Jay-Z, Biggie.
And you said Lil Wayne.
And who else am I missing?
You said Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne.
Okay. That's your top 5 artists, dead or alive. For sure. Before I let you get out of here, you mentioned Y-Man, you mentioned Slam, and how they had an impact on you in your upbringing. Now you as an adult man, married, working, like you work for Y-Man, and then you volunteer at Slam. How does that come together? How does that feel for you? Talk a little bit about that.
My belief in Christ is shapes how I move in life in general. So whether I was working at Y-Man or not, I still be volunteering at Y-Man. Whether I was so I volunteer at Slam through Y-Man. We bring a group of kids to Slam, right? Well, my goal eventually is to retire by the time I'm like 45, open up a barbershop, and probably spend about 20 to 25 hours a week inside of the barbershop and still volunteer at White Man and Slam.
Wow.
By the time I'm like 45.
That's dope.
But the barbershop would be a youth center. So I would, instead of, you know how barbers get paid like in cash through like they clients or whatever, I want to put my barbers on a payroll so our students can get haircuts. So the kids that's a part of the program come in, they get haircuts and they learn how to cut hair and all that stuff. So I would set it up in a way where the barbers would be on a payroll and they would get like a salary or something.
Mm. How has been a mentor, whether it's at Y-Man or at Slam, how has been a mentor in general? How has that impacted your life?
In a huge way, because it's like you inviting accountability into your life. And you got people counting on you up close. It's a different type of vibe. Some people can be a mentor and then go and be whoever they want to be the next day because it's not like up close and personal. But like the way that I do mentoring is like some of my mentees are like my kids or like my little brothers and sisters, right? So I'm invited, like they hold me accountable. They be quick. They'll chop you up. They're like, you always saying that? I'm like, all right, that's cool. I bet. And so I love it. Like, it's hard to be a Christian with no accountability, man. It's hard to believe it. It's hard to say you love Christ and stand on those principles without having accountability, man. The cheat sheet is having youth around you because they gonna check you.
Yeah, they gonna keep it real with you at all times. They gonna keep it real with you. And they gonna know when you being phony and fake about it too. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you coming on, taking some time out. This went a little bit longer than expected, but I appreciate you, man. Just blessing us with your time and your presence and everything that you're doing, man. Like I said earlier, you're a guy that I admire, man. Like everything that you're doing from your music, being a mentor, working with the kids, and really being about it, not just putting on a face, but really getting into the trenches, man, and giving back to your community where you grew up in. Like you literally serve in the community that you grew up in. So I think that that's so dope. And then your music is giving students an opportunity to hear something different than they hear on radio stations, and being able to get up close and personal with an artist that make music, and they can ask questions. And so I think all of those things are just a blessing, and I appreciate you, man, just giving back and just being real with it. So for those of y'all listen, man, make sure y'all go check out the EP. Make sure y'all support him. Go to all of his social media accounts. Make sure you stream the music. And until the next one, man, it's been real. I appreciate you rocking with me.
Hey. Album released, Under Pressure.
When that's dropping?
On Sunday. Well, technically Saturday at 12 a.m.
Oh, okay. So you got an EP that dropped last week. Now you coming with the album. All right.
Yeah, man. I ain't here to play games, man. I'm gonna give everything I got, man. Probably try and do it every 2 to 3 months.
All right, cool. So y'all make sure y'all go stream that. I'm gonna have the links to everything in the description. Yeah, it's been real. It's the Wood Perspective, and we out. Peace.